Uh,
Yeah, thank you very much, my boss, to take the time out, to come on this live stream with me. You know, just want to say much respect and for all my viewers, subscribers. I just want to know this is the great Mr. Warren Barrett, legend, a captain, a leader, name it. Growing up as a kid, this was one of the idols that was there, watching play in Jared Park and all over. One of my mom's favorite football player, because my mom was a Violet Kickers fan. Even though I used to cheer for Violet Kickers and I switched to Seba one of the time because Joe Seba was right up the hill and it was nearer because I used to have to walk to the local track and go over where center where Seba used to play. But my mom was a Violet Kickers fan, so I used to have to watch a lot of Violet Kickers game, so yes, my boss, greetings.
Good memories. Yeah, man, blessings and love.
Yeah, glad you take the time out, to come on the stream with me. This stream is all about, the some of the most likely is just about the past players, And back in the days when about social media, so there's a lot of young people don't know much about, some of the past players. So I'm just trying to build a local platform where I can get few interviews with some of the past players where they can show their grow-ups and, and like any advice for the youth. So this is what this is all about,
And it's a good thing because I think a lot of our youths are lost in regards to the history of sports in general in the country, but more so as we're on football because this is something that even as past players we have spoken about on a number of times that even say national players, even the team that qualified for France '98. I don't know if there's anything in the general archives, in the historical archives of our country where they can do and do research and basically find some articles or the life story of past players and even in our club settings, some of these players they get a number, they go to a club, say they go to Seba United, and they inherit the number 11 jersey. They don't know the historical factor behind that number to know that Theodore Whitmore, was the number that he wore while he was at Seba. A number 18 that represents a Hector Wright, and we know what Hector has done for Seba and for the national team. So these are the little things. So it's important, I think, that you have mediums such as you're having now, where you can try and reach out to past players of, say, even from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, where they can come out and basically just share a little of their experiences during their career up to present.
Yeah, and I appreciate it because that's the thing when I sit down most of the time, and here and because I play against you a couple of times. When you remember when Violet Kickers, when you were trying to build up Violet Kickers. Yeah, I used to play for Barton at that time.
Okay. That's Mountain Villa.
No, not Mountain Villa, Barrytown. Remember, it's Barrytown itself, different from Mountain Villa.
I know.
Big Daddy. Right.
I'm going to Barrytown. I'll be going to Barrytown in another hour and a half or so. Cause one of my best friends, Flight Facey, I don't know if you're familiar with that name. He lives there. So I'm going to visit him. I'm going to visit him in a little while.
Yeah, so so that's why this platform, I think, sitting down and think about it, I said, I'd try something different because, mostly most of the young players, talking to a lot of them, don't know who is Warren Barrett or what the greatness he done for the country. And that 1998 team, should be like an ambassador for football in Jamaica. We should have them on a blueprint, because people should know and people should realize the greatness that team bring towards the country, both in football-wise, because a lot of the youth are getting opportunity today is because of that 1998 that put Jamaica on the map. And
the doors were open. Yeah, the doors were open, and we are not surprised. Coach Simons himself, he told us during that campaign that, well, after our qualification, he basically told us that, listen, a lot of you who are in this team presently might not get the opportunity to play professionally, but you're going to open the doors for the future generations, and we are seeing that in abundance today.
Yep, because doing my research and see how many kids now been leaving, especially this young midfielder that play in the under 20, get a contract in Europe. And, it's a good sight to see a lot of youths, start go where they can take care of their family and even help the country. Because, the more people go out there and can achieve, if them try to invest back in the country, that probably can help, or can probably another youth can see it and say, instead of me turn to violence, I can try to turn to this and try to reach where some of these players, so can you just give the people a little bit about yourself, like growing up and...
Okay, I was born in a small district in St. James. The name of the district is Chatham. That's probably about, I'd say 35 minutes drive from Montego Bay. I spent, I'd say, probably the first 5 years or so living in that district with my maternal grandmother and my siblings. I have 4 brothers and a sister, but 3 of my brothers have predeceased me. So I only have my eldest brother. He's still alive, and my sister resides in Canada. I'm the last of the 6. My father, who moved from Chatham into Montego Bay to look a better life for his family, and after he settled with my mom, then my brother and I, second to last brother, I followed him. Both of us were for my dad, but my father's name is Saint Warren Barrett. So the brother that I followed and myself, those were the 2 who were his biological children, but he was stepfather to my other 4 siblings. So he took both of us first. We resided in different locations in Mobay and Barnett Street, close to the clock. Then we moved to Fish Lane, and that is adjacent to Courts, for those who are familiar with Montego Bay.
Yeah.
That lane adjacent to Courts, Fish Lane, right? I resided there for a while, and while there I attended Chetwood Memorial Primary. And then from there we relocated to Queen Street. And while living at Queen Street, that's where I began to interact. I first interacted with Paul Teagat Davis, the great, while I was living at Fish Lane, because God had deposited the ability to keep goal in me from I was a little boy. I remember then living at Fish Lane, I used to go to UDC, my brother and I and friends, and I would be going in the goal, and Teagat, who was a young man at that time playing for Arnett City, because Steve Buckner was a coach. He had 2 teams then in the Division 2, Arnett City and Arnett Villa. So Teagat played for Arnett City. So I would be in the goal, and he would just be chipping balls at me, and I'd be catching, And then moving to Queen Street, I met up with him again because he lived further up the road from me by Princess Street. So I would always trouble him when he was passing by. We were sitting outside, and he'd be passing. I'd say, "Idiot boy, belly tea." I'd say, "You little fat boy, wait until I hold you," because I was chubby growing up, And when, fast track and look at during my career, I didn't know if somebody had told me at that age that I would play in the same national team with that Paul Teagat Davis. I probably would punch them down or something, because as a little youth growing up, and basically he was one of the, even though I was a goalkeeper, Teagat is one of the players who I looked up to. A Winston Anglin, Anthony Carbett, because as you know, Wadad and the star-studded players that they brought in. So I would have seen all of these players, never to know that I would be rubbing shoulders with them in the black, green, and gold. So it just goes to show what God can do in and through us. But once we stick by the path that He has laid out for us, and the fact that we have to follow that path. We have to be disciplined. You know, you have to work hard. You have to make the sacrifice to achieve. And I think those are some of the ingredients that embodied my career, not only me, but a number of the players who I'd say of the past, and especially those who were a part of the 1998 campaign.
Yeah, and that 1998 campaign, to be honest, like, first I did want to turn a goalkeeper because I remember watching you play against, I think it was Barbados, one of those small Caribbean islands. That was before the last round of World Cup qualify.
Okay.
I think when we qualify for the last round of qualification before we go to the US and the Mexicos and
we played, I think probably it was St. Vincent.
Yes.
Yeah, we beat them 5-1.
Yeah, and I used to take the ball and I look at, you know, the wind ball. I used to take them and fling on the wall and was used to like, you know, because watching you keeping in that game, and then we end up go over the middle field where Seba used to chain, and then I see Paul T got Davis and the Hector, and then I want to be a striker.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that is understandable because as you know, goalkeepers, as you know, a number of times are used as scapegoats, and it's something that irks me even today. A number of times things happen, and we know the goalkeeper position is probably the most important position in a team because you're the last line of defense. You make a mistake and it's everywhere. It's blasted in the media. It's everywhere. But strikers, midfielders might miss simple chances, and yes, it is looked on, but not in the same manner as when a goalkeeper makes an error. And I think I was reading a quote from Keylor Navas. I think it was on Facebook. I think it was last night I was browsing through. And he was saying that he thinks that there should be a separate Ballon d'Or for goalkeepers because people only recognize the skill and the goal scoring ability, etc., of the strikers and midfielders, and nobody remembers the goalkeeper and the saves that they make and the contribution they make to their team to win games and win titles. And I concur with that 100%. You know, and there should be I think the world governing body should come up with a special sort of award, something similar to the Ballon d'Or that outfield that players, but more so most of it has been won, as you know, if you check the history, almost every year it's won by an outfield player, no matter how good a goalkeeper performs during the season. All right, and especially during major tournament years, World Cup years, European Euro, whether 2020, 2021 or 22, that I think is coming up, are those who play in South America, are those playing the African Cup of Nations, you know, and it really is a concern, I'd say. I don't want to say it's a sad point, but it's a concern. And I think if such an award bore fruit, then I think we would. I think goalkeepers will really appreciate that. So I hope the powers that be probably look at it and see if they can conjure up something.
One of your greatest performance one of the greatest goalkeeping performance I ever see, it was you against that Brazilian team with the Roberto Carlos and Rivaldo and Romario. I think Bebeto was there and Leonardo. And
the Gold Cup, you're talking the Gold Cup.
I think it was a Gold Cup, and I think on that day that proved to me you're the best goalkeeper in the world. To me, nobody couldn't tell me nothing. At that point, you proved that nothing could go past you.
Yeah, well, let me correct you. Robert, I know some of the better Brazilian players, to be honest, weren't in the squad for that tournament. Roberto Carlos wasn't there, but they had a number of quality players. Edmundo and Romario were the two strikers. You had Zinho was in midfield. They had Denilson, Junior Baiano, the centre half who eventually broke Theodore's nose in the game. Taffarel the Great was in goal. but they still had a number of their top players who were in that team. But yeah, in terms of quality opposition, and I've heard that before from a lot of friends and even people who I meet in the street that based on games that they have seen, that would have probably been my best performance. But over the years, I've been telling friends and I guess even people as well that I've had far better performances which were not seen by many, especially probably those back here in Jamaica. I remember a game in Zambia when we went to Zambia in 1995. We played them twice. The first game we lost 1-0, and I think that game probably is my best game ever in a Jamaica shirt. I mean, second half it was as if there was attack against defense. You know, for the second half of the 45 minutes, I think I made upwards of probably 20 saves. You know, it was, trust me. But as I said, I don't think it's recorded, so a lot of folks won't see some of the performances that I had, especially playing away outside of the national stadium.
And that's the sad part about it, because you know, even having this interview with Party got Davis, and majority of his goals that he scored, you know, a lot of kids don't even see the quality and the technique and the hard work and training that he put in. I
can tell you, from I was 8-7, I was going to Gerard Park. So the greats of Montego Bay I've seen, including, as I said, T-Gat. And I make no apologies. T-Gat personally is the best striker I've both played with and seen in Jamaica. And I make no apologies about that. As a kid growing up, I saw T-Gat score some amazing goals inside Gerard Park, trust me. So, and it was because of him why so many people in the city eventually started following Siba United. You know,
yeah, I'm one. Yeah. So give me a little bit about the school career, like wise.
Okay. All right. So as I had mentioned earlier, that I attended Chetwood Memorial Primary, passed and before I move on, let me share. Hector Wright and I went to Chetwood together. He was a grade higher than me. He's a year older than I am. You know, but he's an alma mater as well. We went to the same school. So we went to Chetwood. I would have passed my common entrance in grade 5. Attended Cornwall College in 1982. Represented the under-14 team in 1984. But this was after I was coerced by my then Spanish teacher, Mr. Clyde Morris, to really take goalkeeping seriously, because I tried out for the under-14 team in the first year as a striker, but I didn't make the team because from primary school I played out and I would play in goal sometimes. You know, as you know, it's not until third form in high school, Cornwall College, that I said I had a conversation with Mr. Morris after a class competition game against the strongest second form team, because then the 8-1 team had probably close to 50% of the players that played in that under-14 team that year. And I basically held them out until late in the game. They scored, we lost 1-0. So it was after the game he approached me and he basically said, "Warren, I didn't know you were this good a goalkeeper." I told him yes, but it's just that I like playing on field as well. And then he said, "Okay, you should come out for the under-14 team as a goalkeeper, man." I said, "Okay, sir." And from then on, I just took the goalkeeping more seriously. Played under-14. We went to I think it's Elron Cup, I think is the name of the under-14 competition. We lost to Monroe in the finals, 1-0. I think that game was played at Monroe. 1984, 1985, I represented the under-16 team, also in 1986, represented the under-16 team, and also represented the Costa Cup team in 1986 as a 16-year-old. And I played 3 years after Costa Cup football, 86, 87, 88. Would have represented the national under-17 team in 1987. The tournament was in March in Honduras. If you know Tyan Campbell, I don't know if you know that That player, he was at Cornwall as well with me. Myself and him, along with Tedroy Jones. You remember Tedroy Jones from Steps?
Yeah.
Right. They call him Tikaros, right? So
Yeah.
we were the only 3 rural players who made that national under 17 team, 1987, and that is the first ever national under 17 team. So that was the inaugural year of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying for under 17. We would have rubbed shoulders in Honduras that year against the Mexicans, the Costa Ricans, and the Salvadorians. We lost 1-0 to both Mexico and Costa Rica in the first 2 games. We drew 0-0 with El Salvador in the 3rd game. I was voted most outstanding under 17 goalkeeper of the tournament. I was voted the best under 17 goalkeeper in the Caribbean that year as well. Represented the Alda Casa Cup team 2 years, 1987 and 1988, against the Almanin team. We won the first year, 1987, the stadium 2-1. We lost in 1988 at Jarrett Park 1-0. And then I represented Arnett's, and the club scene. I went to Arnett's, the same team that T got started his career. Yeah, so 1986 as a young schoolboy in experience, I was approached. I don't remember by who approached me and asked if I could come and keep for them in the D1, because I think they had an issue with goalkeepers then. So as a young man, I took up the challenge, and I played for them in some games. And then, as you know, as a youngster playing with big men, so you're sort of nervous and you're crawling your shell, and you're not as vocal as or I wasn't as vocal as I normally was at school, because, as you know, I was in unfamiliar grounds playing with my schoolmates. I remember one game we played Wadada, and we lost 6-0. At Jarrett Park, and what made it double worse was that the fact that even my coach scored against me, Mark Ledford. I don't know if you know Mark Ledford, a former national captain as well. He was the coach he played and coached Wadada.
I heard the name before.
Yeah, he resides in the US. He migrated years ago, but he was my Dakasa coach between 86 to 88. But he played in that game, as I said, scored one of the goals, and when you go back to school the following day, everybody must tell you. It was just, I just wanted to dig a hole and hide myself in it. But it was all part of the learning process as a 16-year-old, and I guess it was disappointing occasions like that helped me to become stronger and to be able to bounce back from adversity and from low situations where your confidence had been beaten and battered. But as you know, in football, we are all imperfect beings who play the sport, so we're going to make mistakes over and over and over. So it's just a matter of bouncing back. How do I deal with mistakes and disappointments? That shows character, that shows the strength and perseverance of individuals in whatever sport that might be. So I think those were learning lessons for me, and I'm just happy that I took them in stride eventually, and it helped me to grow and to reach another level.
Yeah, and that's what you say right there. Because my cousin Douglas used to go to Cornwall College in those times, so he used to give me a little rundown about the history of Cornwall College, and that.
What's Douglas's last name?
I'm gonna have to ask him his last name and then text you and tell you. But I think he went on in that time when you went there. I don't remember exactly his last name, but Douglas, he went to Cornwall College because his mom used to make the epaulette. The epaulette that you guys used to wear. His mom used to make it for the school.
Okay.
Yeah. So
where did he reside? Where did he live? You remember?
He used to live over Canterbury.
Okay.
Yeah, his mom used to make all the epaulettes. The Cornwall epaulettes with the little. Yeah, his mom used to make those for the school.
Still have a couple here, because my son attended Cornwall as well. So I think there are a couple of them in the jar somewhere.
Yeah, and so what about the National Premier League? How many titles do you win? I remember they win 2.
All right, yeah. So So I represented RNS just that one year, 1986. After the 1987 Dakar Cup season, I was approached by a good friend, Leroy Chubby Eran, who was in charge of the Violet Strikers team. That was the sister team, the Violet Kickers. So myself and about 4 or 5 other boys from Cornwall, after the season, he took us, registered us, so we represented Violet Strikers that year in the Division 1. And then the following year, 1988, I was gearing up to represent Violet Strikers again. And then we were told that Noel Bram King, one of the best left backs this country has seen, he was the coach of Violet Kickers then, and he wanted me to play Premier League. So myself was registered that year. We had Aaron Wild Boy Lawrence was at Violet Kickers that same year. Colin Brightson.
Both of you at the same time?
All 4 of us. I don't know if you know Errol Bully Williams that used to keep for Russies.
Russie, yep.
Yeah, so all 4 of us. So 2 Cornwallians, 2 Russians were the 4 goalkeepers at Violet Kickers that year. So we had the cream of the talented young goalkeepers. During the first 5 or 6 games, I think we rotated. So I would keep this week. Following week would be Aaron. Then the following week would be Matt. So they used to alternate us each week. And then I remember a game against Reno at Jarrett Park, and I made a number of beautiful saves that game, and we beat Reno 2-0. That was a shocking result because Reno had all their big guns, and it was after that game, Coach King decided that he's not going to rotate us anymore. I would be the undisputed number 1, and that is how Aaron left. He left after that season and ended up at Reno. Yeah, so that's how he left, and I would have represented Violet Kickers up to when I stopped playing. But we won in the 1993-94 season. Errol Gillett returned home, or he traveled back and forth because he resides in the States, and he took up the coaching opportunity. And trust me, this man was a tactician. Probably the best. Next to Samoes, I'd say is the best coach that I've played for. And he only spent 1 season with Violet Kickers. We won the league that year, 93-94. We lost 1 game all season, which was to the JFF at home at Robert Marson. Robert Marson was our home ground. We lost 2-0. I think we conceded 10 or 11 goals during the entire season for the 22 preliminary round game. So we were a watertight defensive unit, led by Leroy Foster. We had Donovan Fire Red Blake. We had Garnet Catfish Denton, Norman Bigger Foster, Glenn Ford Party Chambers. That was the back line. Our midfield that won the Premier League that year. I still don't know if in the history of the competition there has been as such a age group that has won a national title. Our midfield was Garth Peter King Flower. I'm not sure if you know him. Former national player as well. He's one of my close friends. Garth was 19. Milton Bunny Griffiths.
Yeah, from Barretown.
From Barretown was 18.
Yeah.
And Theodore Tapper Whitmore was 21. So those were the 3 midfielders who played midfield during the two leg finals against SEBA. 18, 19, and 21. So and as you know, these were 3 special midfielders that we had. And we also went on to win the title a second time in 1995-96. Dean Weatherly would have been the coach that year, but we would have retained a number of the players who we won the title with in the first year, 93-94. Theodore was no longer there. Theodore would have moved on and was at that time at SEBA United, but we still had the core of that team. So we won the National Premier League title twice.
I'm glad that you confirmed that part for me, because one of my friends, we have this conversation because I tell him that Whitmore win the Premier League with Violet Kickers, because Whitmore was at Violet Kickers before he go to SEBA and turn a legend.
Yeah.
And we have this debate for like 2 weeks, you know, and I'm telling him, like, listen, I grew up watching these games because I used to sneak in Jared Park coming from Mount Salem. And I used to go to Salem school. I used to sneak, walk home, sneak in Jared Park and like pick a few of the games. Because, you know, they used to open the game certain times. So, you know, school kids never used to have to pay to go in. So, yeah, I'm glad that you confirmed that one for me.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I remember there was a debate as well, where someone said that when Theodore made his debut for the national team, that he was a SEBA United player, and I basically interjected and I told the person that no, he made his debut while he was at Violet Kickers, because the year before we won the title, 1992-93, Hazard, which is now Portmore United, were the Premier League winners that year, and Violet Kickers was the only team that, if my memory serves me correctly, I think we were the only team that defeated them that year. We beat them 1-0 at Alcoa in a game that Garnet Denton scored. Theodore used to wear number 2. A lot of people probably did not know that either. That was Theodore's number when he just came to Violet Kickers, number 2. And I mean, he had the entire Hazard midfield, I mean, on a string that day. I mean, there were spectators from Hazard who were asking, who is that Marga number 2 boy in our midfield? You know, because he was an unknown. So even I remember I turned around and looked at a few of them and I said, so that same number 2, his name is Theodore Whitmore. And I said, so the next few years, he's going to be the best player in the country. And it was after that game, I went to Mr. Horace Reid, as you know, was the general secretary of the GFF. He was general manager for the national team while I was there. And he was, I think, the manager of Hazard at the time. So after the game, I went to him and I said, Mr. Reid, number 2, you know, Theodore Whitmore. I said, yeah, he saw him and he's impressed with him. And I basically said, we had a game against Cayman coming up the following week. And I basically said to Mr. Reid, ensure that he's in the team next week when we travel. You know, and Theodore was part of the team, and that's where he made his debut. He made his debut in the Cayman Islands against Cayman, you know. But this gentleman was running me down that he was at SEBA United when he played. But I'm not one to get into foolish discussions or arguments when I know the facts, so I just left it at that.
Yeah, that's well said, because, you know, to see, and he never looked back from there, you know, and
never look back.
And Mr. Barrett, you know, for most of the youths out there today, you know, and no, enough of them go watch and see this, and like, you know, what would you say to the generation today? You know, the younger generation that really want to be a professional footballer.
Well, as you know, we live in a information age where everything is at everyone's fingertip. Social media is right there, and you know, a lot of people love to be in the limelight. There's so many distractions around for the youth nowadays. I'd say probably unlike in our time. We had more outside leisure time. If you look at it, we played marbles, we played gigs, we shoot birds, we climbed guinea trees, mango trees, you know, all of that. We played football, basically almost every day. There were so many outdoor activities. I think the generation these days tend to be more indoor, spend more time indoor doing their leisure time, playing games on Nintendos and other those FIFA 21 or 22. I don't even know because I don't follow those things. But these are the things that, and as I said, social media have a lot of them distracted as well. But the things are the ingredients that makes one become successful. Those will never change. You know, you have to be hardworking, you have to be dedicated, you have to be disciplined, you have to make sacrifices. You know, you have to have the correct attitude. You have to be able to listen and to accept criticism and to pick the sense out of nonsense, as people would say. You know, you have to be level-headed. You have to be strong mind and strong will. not easily led. As you know, I think that is one of the major issues with our youth these days. They're easily led by their peers, you know, and this is one of the things that lead a lot of our young people astray. And it stems from, I'd say, from a lot of it stems from the household, where they are not being taught the moral values and the discipline and respect that are essential in rearing up good, respectable young men and women to make an impact in society. It's sad to say, but I mean, it's, well, the Bible cannot lie, because the Bible speaks about it, that in the last days, perilous times shall come. Men will be lovers of themselves more than lovers of God. And we are seeing that every day, not only in our country, but basically worldwide. And so it's important that regardless of what is happening around us, we still have to be positive role models for these young people. Continue to teach and to show them the right values. Continue to teach and to instill in them the necessary things that it will take to succeed. Because football is, as you know, it's a hard sport. It can be tough. It can be draining. It can affect you in so many ways, especially your mental health. I mean, the number of abuse, as you know, that players go through. I mean, even online racism and other type of abuse that, as probably you have read about, a lot of them as well, which is unfortunate. But these are things that happened, and these are things that players in different parts of the world will face. And how do they overcome these things, these obstacles? And these are things that we as coaches who have been there, we have experienced some things. So it's important for us to share these with the next generation who want to succeed. And I have a saying that I rather be hated. I'm hated for doing the right thing than being loved for doing the wrong thing, or to give the wrong advice to somebody. Because as you know, a lot of people are not straightforward. I'm a straightforward coach. I'll tell you just as it is. As you know, you have players they play 90 minutes and they might have a bad game, but yet their friends and families and so on come and tell them, say, boy, good game today and all of that. I'm not like that. If I know you have a poor game and you come and ask me, I'm going to tell you straight up that no, you need to improve. Wasn't one of your better performances today. And I can tell you this is one of the things that even because over the years I've been the goalkeeper coach at Cornwall College, my alma mater. And the boys here can tell you that I am a strict disciplinarian, and I'm honest, and I'm straightforward. Because this is the only way they are going to learn. You know, if you cover up for them, how long can you do that for? They might pay that cost up to 3 years. But after that, then they go out in the real world, where they have to go and seek employment, or some of them might go off to colleges, etc. And they are exposed to another level of discipline or court or training, etc., etc. And you're not there. What are they going to do? You know, and as I've often said, I don't want these boys or these men in regards to the national team only be successful on the field of play. I want them to be successful off the field of play. So it's a holistic approach. For Cornwallians, as a Cornwallian myself, I want this to be men of might, as part of the school song says, that we're churning out young boys to be men of might. I want young men who can make a positive impact on society. You know, because as you know, football is only a minute part of any individual's development, especially in high school. You know, but there's a life to live. There's a bigger world out there that is evilous and have a lot of negativity that comes with it. There are also good things. There are also good traits that are out there as well. And these are the things that you want these young men to gravitate towards. Not only be successful on the field of play, but also in their personal lives.
Natasha Allen in the comments said, so true. Said, yeah, because Pit Knight, when Pit Knight did have a discussion about that, and him tell me about how you used to get all the keepers together, and you guys used to do, you know, it doesn't matter which team you come from.
Doesn't matter which school either. And let me, as you're on that, yes, that is so true. When Pit Knight was at SEBA, I used to tell him that, listen, I'm at Cornwall training with Violet Kickers, myself, and also the Cornwall goalkeepers right there. So I got the goalkeepers from SEBA, goalkeepers from Wadada. I think it was probably 8, 9 of us. And every day, you know, I would push them through their paces. So that is so true. And even while I was at Cornwall College, I remember 2016, I got the goalkeepers from Irvine High, goalkeepers from Robert Morrison, from St. James Side, from Cornwall. And I had a mini camp out by Herbert Morrison 3 days per week for the entire summer. I had all the goalkeepers. Even during the Dakar Cup season, I told, when Tapa was at St. James at that time, and I told Mr. King, Saturday at the game, when we warm up, I send the goalkeepers come I warm them up too. And this went on for a number of years. I warmed all the goalkeepers together. I gave them their match talk. You know, I basically observed. You know, I talked to them at halftime about any probably mistakes or what they could have done better, or commend them on what they did well. And after the game, I do that again. Because as I tell people, it's, yes, I'm a Cornwallian, but it's not about Cornwall, it's about development. So if the talent is there and needs nurturing, it doesn't matter where this boy comes from, I'm going to help to nurture the talent as long as he wants to learn and he wants to improve and he wants to grow. So it can't be selfish as a boy because I go to Herbert Morrison and that student or that boy goes to Irvine High, so I'm not going to work with him. No, that's not me. As long as I see talent, it doesn't matter where they come from, because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is talent, not school colors.
And that's what make you a national hero. Because for me, that 1998 team is, all of those players are heroes to me. You know, because growing up in that community of Canterbury, which you know, and it could have turned anyway. And to see all you guys play the game and fall in love with the game, made me just want to turn to football. You know, and I remember coming up against you, and I score a header, and I think it was Paper Belly. Said I fouled you, but I think that one I did not. But I just think that day the rain did drizzle, and I think you get a little slide before, but I out jump you because I'm 6'4", and I out jump you when you come back up, and but he said I fouled you because he said but you're the one that pissed me in my head. I didn't.
Okay. I don't remember that game. yeah. But
right,
you know that was.
Yeah, it was right at Wyndham Playfield. If you remember Wyndham Playfield, it was to the road. You guys was to the road, the roadside. Okay. We were at the beach, but we're kicking to the road.
Right.
Yeah, and Paper Belly said I for you that day, but I think he just give you the benefit of the doubt at that point.
Yeah. Goalkeepers are protected species in most leagues around the world, so you have to give and take. That will happen in a number of leagues. Probably outside, I think Premier League, the English Premier League is one of the leagues where I think they allow some amount of contact on the goalkeepers that the referees will allow. You know, and I remember national team, we were playing Wales in 1998 in a game in Wales that ended 0-0. And I remember there's this big striker, John Hartson, who used to represent Arsenal. And I remember a cross came in and I left my line, went up and catch, and I mean, this man, he came with his entire 200 plus pounds.
I remember John Hartson.
And he made contact with me, but I got a good grip of the ball, and the referee didn't call a foul. And looking back, it was good that I held on to the ball cleanly, because looking back, if I had dropped it and he had poked the ball in the back of the net, the goal probably would have stand. Because as a follower of the Premier League, I knew going into the games, we played QPR as well before the Welsh game, so I knew that they will allow some amount of contact. So I had basically conditioned my mind mentally to having to take some amount of bumps and hits if needs be during those two games.
Yeah, and for your 1998 campaign, can you tell me some of the things that drive you guys to that finish line?
Well, as you know, coach would have come in late 1994. We lost the third game in Port Samoa's stint, which was the second game at the stadium. I think that was the only game we lost, and then I think we went undefeated in 52 games inside the office. We played Borussia Dortmund at Jarrett Park. We lost 1-0. Then we played them in the return at the stadium. It was a feisty encounter. It was a friendly, but it really turned out to be a very physical encounter in the return game. We defeated them 1-0 at the stadium. Pigat scored, and so the series ended 1-1. We then played the US and we lost 3-0 inside the stadium. That was the only game that we lost. After that, we went 52 games unbeaten. But I think what helped us was the fact that we lived together for the duration of the campaign. And we would have gone on the historical tour to Brazil in January of 1995. And we would have played a number of practice games. We would have traveled all over Sao Paulo. I mean, I didn't know that there were such huge countries in the world. I mean, some of the journeys were, trust me, tiring. But as I said, it prepared us for what we were about to face during the qualifying campaign. So all of this wasn't only about preparing us for on the pitch for 90 minutes, as also mental preparedness, because we would journey like 8, 9, 10 hours to play a friendly game, travel 9, 10 hours back to the base in Rio Claro. Probably the following day we journey again elsewhere 6, 7 hours to play. So all of this mentally, this was preparing us to deal with the raucous crowds that we would face, especially away from home. And we lost a number of these games. The first year when we went to Brazil, we lost majority of the games. I remember the very first game we played against Sao Paulo's youth team, and we lost 6-1. 6-1 to Sao Paulo's youth team. And that's when I said, no, man, but I thought we were good. But, but as I said, we took our licks. We were growing, we learned. And we basically knew each other inside out. We were brothers. The bond was such where if you touch one player, you basically have to touch all.
Touch all.
Yeah, we were each other's keeper, our brother's keeper. We eat, sleep, bled football. As you know, we had the players' house at 1 or 2 Shortwood Road. And there we had a number of memorial time. There were things. We celebrated birthdays, and birthdays were like egg and flour war, so a lot of players didn't want anybody to know when their birthday is. The following morning, chef would have problem finding things to make breakfast with. So would flour each other and run each other down around the yard with eggs, etc. And I mean, those were and these are things that helped us to bond. And during as I said, when we face adversities on the field of play, then these are some of the things that we could draw on, to know that, listen, Peter Cargill was he was a vice captain, but also he was, apart from myself around the back, he was the most vocal player, especially in midfield, and you could count on him at any given moment, because he was one who I looked up to. The fact that he played professionally in Israel for a number of years, so I learned so much from him, and the players on a whole respected him, and there was a respect one for another. We had no issues and we had no challenges. When it came to football and things that we needed to agree on, then we would stick together. I mean, if we had any issues, any challenges, we would ensure that they were ironed out before we would take the pitch. there are a number at times we had challenges with the federation that captain and his board members would have to call emergency meetings to iron out things so that everybody could take the field in the right frame of mind that we needed to get the desired results. And thank God that we didn't disappoint, as I said, at home, you know. And this is, I think we made the National Stadium a fortress. And we basically told each other, and as the Bible says, that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And we spoke life. We said, listen, no team is going to come to the stadium and beat us. It doesn't matter if they sent from Brazil, Argentina, West Germany, the best teams in the day. Once it's the National Stadium, the most they can come away with is a point. You know, and this is something we believe. And as you yourself knew, you watched majority of the games during that time, and you know, we had a number of memorable performances, you know, all across the board from the players. And I remember 1995 when we came from Brazil. And as you know, as boys, as you know, you're socialized not to show emotions, you're not to cry, you know, which looking back now is just, that's a lie from the pit of hell. That's foolishness. And I think that that is one of the issues why our young men are having challenges now, because I think when you show your emotions, that shows how strong you are. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable, because we are human beings. If you have to let it out. You have to let it out. If we're not to cry, then God would not develop us or make us with tear ducts so that we could cry. It's a way of expressing grief. It's a way of expressing joy. It's a way of expressing relief, you know, or even in times of strength. So, and it was just because, as you say, as men of a cry. So basically, as players, we held back the tears because we were going to break camp, I think, for a week. You know, I mean, the fact that you're going to miss your brother, you're going to miss being with probably your roommate, you know, and so on. The things that we did, and while you're in camp, you know, you're going to be away from him for a week. But even when we were away at our respective homes, we just couldn't wait to get back together, you know. So the moment we hear that camp is Mondays, I mean, we cannot wait to get back to camp, you know, just to get back to training and to get back to, you know, basically, you know, having that team spirit, that team bond, having camaraderie, as you know, having, you know, running gimmicks, as you know, that was another big part of what basically held us together. I mean, we were a comical group when we were off the field. A lot of people probably wouldn't know that, but I mean, we had so much fun. And those are my brothers. They are brothers that for life, you know, every single person who got even a one call up while Coach Simoes was here, they played their part, because without, say, the second 11 or B team players, if you want to call them that, without them putting out the work and putting, quote unquote, the A team players under pressure and basically pushing us to be consistent and to give off our best each day, we would not have qualified. Because if those players are not there to push us to the next level, or to basically don't allow us to drop our guards, because as you know, players sometimes, because they quote unquote think they are sure picks, so some of the time you tend to just relax and go through the motion. But we couldn't do that in the team, because there was always another player, 2 or 3 players who wanted to be a part of the team. And I think the standards that we set, the bar that we set was really, really high for even the players who came in. Because I can tell you, bro, and I share this with a lot of people, when we had squad game, A team against B team, these were like World Cup qualifiers. Trust me.
Because you have the great Aaron Lawrence.
I was on the B team, Aaron would be probably on the A team. But when coach decided, like, he would tell us that, listen, this evening we're having a squad game. Yeah, man, from before even someone go up on the bus and stop talking to someone. because I World Cup qualifier this evening. Yeah, a man start sending threat. Oh, anytime you pick up it to the boy, I bust your lace today and I bust your net, I kick 2 passes today and a skipper. You know, these were the sort of things that you would hear. You know, so and I mean it was super competitive. The qualifiers, I mean the squad games. I as I can share with you during the campaign, we were preparing for a game. I don't remember if it's a Canada game at the stadium. The day before the game, where we had like coach would have like probably a 20 minutes to half hour squad game with the proposed team that would be starting against the other 11. And Pepe, I mean, put in a run down Andy Williams and put a tackle on Andy, and Andy fell awkwardly on his shoulder and dislocated his shoulder. So he ended up missing, I think, 2 or 3 games. You know, so that is just an example of what happens, what takes place in training. It trust me, the bar was really set high. No player, whether you think you're on the A team or the B team, could drop their guard, because, as I said, there were players in the squad and there were other players also outside the squad who wanted to come in. You know, so you basically have to maintain a level of professionalism and maturity and discipline, because, as you know, Coach Moyes is a no-nonsense when it comes to discipline and following team ethics, to follow the rules and guidelines that govern the national team. So if you stepped out of line at any time, no matter how good a player you were, he probably would send you home for a while, hopefully for you to learn. So that means next time he calls you back, hopefully you would have learned from your mistakes, and that would make you a better player on and off the field.
And when you say it's so true, because I was saying to Pick Night that that it was so unfortunate that he come up in the same era as you and Wild Boy, and then you have Donovan.
Donovan kids, right?
Because at that time we did have a goal mine of keepers.
Yeah. Number of quality
goalkeepers. Anyone could step in at any time.
Yep.
You know, and then in the defense, we did have the great Tati Brown, and then you have the Ian Goodison, and then you have Ricardo Gata coming in with the great Gregory Messam. So, like, you have Shorty Malcolm. I don't remember who was his challenge on that side, but
Dean Sewell, we had Fabian Davis.
Dean Sewell. So we did have like a squad. We did have like a good squad of players.
Yeah, but we had quality. We had like 3-4 players per position. So if you're looking at, say, 4 players per position, that's 44 players right there. And some of these 44 were not in the squad, in the team consistently. So that's why I said, once you're in, you have to try and be in. Set the standard, do what you're called upon to do, in order to stay there.
I got one little more thing to bring to you. I remember when we used to have the national team used to travel the country. Used to play against the St. James
parish teams. Yeah, you play the parish teams, yeah.
And all those little things. I think that was one of the things used to help a lot, because as a young player growing up, when you used to play the Division 1, you used to have the Seba United, the Wadadan, Violet Kickers, all of those teams used to play in the Division 1 at the same time. So can you give me anything about that?
Yeah, that was important, because I think what coach wanted to do was to endear the players to the fans. He wanted the fans around the country to know their national players, to be familiar with them, not from a distance, as you know, like some fans might only know a player from watching him on television. But he wanted us to get up close and personal with these fans. They can touch you, take pictures, get autographs, things like that, as if they knew you. And I think we had camps in, I think, most, if not all, parishes just at some point in time during his stint here for the 1998 campaign. And I remember that's how we found even a German U. It was while we were in St. Thomas and we were playing against the St. Thomas team that the talent of German U came to the fore, and he eventually became a part of the national setup. He was I remember we went to Argentina in 1997. And during that month in Argentina, my midfield had I had three left footers in my team and the B team. My midfield that year was the late Winston Griffiths, Baby Gardner and Jeremy New. And trust me, this was really a talent. There's another young man, I don't know if you remember, Patrick Beach.
Yeah, man, Patrick Beach.
Right, from Rivoli. Rivoli team. Right. He was another one who Timo's had found during such sojourn of playing against parish teams. So this is something good because, as you know, not every young man or young boy or young girl, because as you know, the females are doing well as well. So not every young man has that opportunity to play for, say, an established team in the country. So I think that is one way where from time to time you'll find some rough gems that eventually, once you get them into the correct system, then you can get them refined, and then they can go out and basically display the talent and ability that you had seen from they were probably younger. And as I said, we saw what Jeremy did for the national team and also in the local Premier League for his team, Harbourview. One of the most cultured left foot I think the country has seen, and also had a range of passes, and then he was a master at free kicks as well. Patrick Beach likewise would have done well for his club, and probably didn't get as many opportunities to don the national colours, but the time that he played Premier League, I think he really had an impact. So those are just two of the players that we would have found during the travels of going around the island and playing against the parish teams.
Yeah, because I was even suggesting that, probably even to see the qualities that coming out of the Costa Cup and all those, probably if we did have probably a 16-team Premier League where we could fit in more of the players that are coming out of the Costa Cup, find somewhere to fit them in, because you can't fit all players into 12 team that's coming out per season. So, I was thinking probably if we could extend the league probably a little bit, that probably could have helped us a little bit more with development. Or
I think that is in the pipeline, because the Premier League, as you know, just ended recently. No teams were demoted, and the second tier league is going on. I think the second leg of the semi-finals actually will be taking place today. So I think the top two teams from the tier 2 will be coming up next season to make 14 teams. And I think the following season they want to add 2 more to make 16. So I think that is where the league, the organizers and the governing body of football in the island, I think that's where they want to get the league back to 16 teams. But what I am really happy about so far, though, is the fact that a number of the teams are now investing in youth, which is what we need. If you look at a number of the teams, Cavaliers, Harbourview one, there are a number of young players between probably the ages of 18 to 22 who are in a number of the teams. MBU, I think the majority of the MBU squad this past season, I think probably were below the age of 25. And I think this argues well for the league. I think when you have a number of young players and you start to expose them at this level, eventually, as I said, once they want to grow, once they want to achieve, once they're not satisfied just being at that level where they are, then I think it argues well for the league. The league can improve, and they themselves will improve, and they will put themselves in the windows. So, one, be seen by the respective national coaches at different levels to get that opportunity of donning the national colours, and secondly, to be seen by clubs and agents and scouts overseas who can then offer them the lure of playing professionally, which is, I think, the dream of most footballers, is to get the opportunity to play professionally abroad. But one thing I I tend to say to a number of the youths that they shouldn't be satisfied just going to the US, especially playing their trade in the USL. No disrespect to the league. It's a I think it's a well-run league that is organized. The players are paid, but as we know, there are better quality leagues out there in the world. So I think our players should try to use the USL as a stepping stone to one, get to the MLS, which is in a step higher, and also to try to move to mainstream Europe or into Asia, or elsewhere where there are strong professional leagues that are taking place. But as I said, I must say kudos to the clubs and those who are in charge of respective clubs to really realize that allowing the youths to grow and to be exposed at this level, this is the way to go. And as we see a number of our young players over the last year or two who have got the opportunity to go abroad. And as I said, this can only augurs well for the national team as well. When these players come back, then the fact that they'll be playing at a higher level week in, week out, then when they come to represent the national team, then we hope they can also add and contribute to the national team, and we can see good performances from the teams.
Will we ever see back a Violet Kickers?
It's difficult to say, as you know. Football, you have to be the scenario for clubs nowadays. It's different from back in the 90s. Even though some clubs had the club setting, where you have like an executive body, the structure has to be in place now. But that is what the FIFA stipulates. So you have to have a president, you have the directors. Each club has to have. You have to have that medical staff, etc., etc. So these are things that the clubs who are coming up have to have in order to be registered. And it's not easy. And as you know, there are individuals who probably would be interested, but do they have the time to start a restructuring program? And then again, there's so many, as I said, distractions in the past, especially here in St. James. That's a whole different thing. But it would be different. It's not impossible, but it would be difficult, and it would take people who love the sport and who are willing to sacrifice self and time and money to really get the club up and running and back where one would want it. But it's not impossible, because nothing is impossible as long as you believe and want to achieve. Then you can set your targets, set your goals, and aim to achieve them.
Yes, boss, and me know it's Sunday, me know you have to go, and I just want to say thank you so much to really take the time out and share, some of your legendary moments, to be Mr. Warren Barrett, one of the greats. And as I tell Paul Teagat Davis, you guys deserve something honorable in Jamaica, because what you guys have done for the country, I think they should reward you guys, with some honorable thing, make the whole world can see, even the players today that playing can see and remember. I think they should honor you guys, because even in the NBA, you see they honor all the great players, the Michael Jordan and all of them get their flowers while they're alive. You understand? So I think that they should find something to honor all you guys, because you guys open the door right now for thousands of Jamaicans going across all over to play in Europe, where they can better for their family, give their family a better life. And I think you guys deserve to be a national TV in Jamaica. One day they should have a special day where they honor all of you guys, just like what the rest of the world is doing. You know, the England and all of that. When they win or they qualify for the World Cup, they went to with the Queen. You know, I think they should do something for you guys so the younger generation can see who is Warren Barrett, who is Theodore Whitmore, Paul Teagat Davis, Hector Wright, you know, name Dean Sewell, the late Shorty Malcolm. You know, all you guys need to be rewarded. You know, it don't have to be nothing big. At least just a little ceremony, you know, to present you guys so the younger generation can see and know where it's all started. Because without you guys, none of this would be possible today for all these kids that's going across the world. And that's what my interview is all about. It's nothing about the negativity. It's all about what we can do to make a difference in this world today. You know, for the younger generation can see and see where they're coming from.
And as you're on that topic, my family and I, we celebrated with Teagat last week Saturday. Yeah, Wednesday was his birthday because he shares the same birthday as my wife, July 13th. But on the weekend, it was a Saturday. There was a big birthday celebration for him by Iron Shore. His family and my family, we are very, very close. You know, and the fact that his wife and family and rest of friends wanted to have a birthday celebration that he would not forget. So we couldn't keep it a secret from him. So his wife told him that yes, we're going to have a birthday party for you, but the only thing he knew was that there was going to be a birthday party on the Saturday. Well, he had no clue that it was going to be by Iron Shore, because he saw a friend of mine, I think, during the week of the party, and my friend said to him, my friend told me that Teagat told him that he was going to have a birthday party up by his house, so he should pass through. So I was laughing. And I said to my friend, we said, we don't have no party up at Teagat yard. We said, yes, we're having a party, but he thinks it's up by Farmer, it's not up by yard. If that is what he didn't know. And there was another friend of his, he was by his friend's house the entire Saturday evening. And the party was basically a few, like 100 meters or so from where he was staying, and he didn't have a clue. So when he got to the event and he saw everybody, I mean, he really, really was surprised. But trust me, it was a great event. It's one of the best birthday parties I've attended. I mean, even his wife went all out. I have contacts for Professor Monteso, who was our physical trainer at the time, and I gave it to Mrs. Davis, and she reached out to him to get Coach Simoes to send a birthday tribute to Teagat, which he did. We also heard from the great Anthony Badas Carbet, who is also my captain and who I look up to. You know, Badas sent his tribute. I mean, Horace Pitt, I don't know if you remember that name, they call him Chichi, played with Teagat at Seba. He's one of Chichi and Teagat, you know, are very close. He sent his tribute as well. So we basically went all out to ensure we got as many people as possible. He had friends from England who he would have played with at Arnett's who came down to celebrate with him. So it really, really was a great, great time. And during my little speech, I said to them that, and basically I was talking to Teagat, that I said I'm happy I was here to celebrate the 60th with you while you're alive and not when you're dead, because too many times we salute or we scatter roses to our heroes in whichever sport after they have passed, you know. And I was just happy, you know. God allowed me and everybody else who was there to be able to celebrate his memorable 60th with him last Saturday, you know. And I'm sure that is something that he told me personally he will never forget. He really, you know, had a great, great time.
Because I did a tribute for him too on the channel. I don't know if you watch it, you know. Yeah, I do a little tribute video for him too on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You know, if you go on the channel, you will see it. I did a little tribute video with some of his pictures and.
So that's just going GFC Garvan. That's what I should go on. Okay, I will.
Yeah, if you subscribe to it and see if you can share it and send it out, you know, because as I said, I'm just trying to do some positive things, you know, see if we can bring back some positive thing and cut out all the negativity, you know, and try to bring back some light back in the country of Jamaica, you know. I hope one day they can give you guys your flowers while you're here, you know, and don't wait and say, boy, we did have Captain Warren Barrett, you know. I want the world and the whole country supposed to know the great Warren Barrett and the rest of players that represent Jamaica and put you guys on the map. And honestly, you guys saved my life. Because as I tell you where I'm from, and I could have turned anywhere, and I turned to football because of you guys. So, you know, football can save life, and sports in general.
Yeah, sports in general, it has saved a number of lives, and it will continue to. You know, there's no doubt. I don't know if you knew this, but the day we qualified, November '97, when we played the Mexico game, there were no reported
violence or nothing across the whole entire country.
Entire country that day.
Yeah, because remember the Monday was a public holiday, and for that whole entire week, I don't think there was no violence. Because remember when you guys go on even the bus tour, like enemies, friends, everybody was out on the street. Pass by.
So that's what sports can. That's what sports can do. That's what sports can do. It can galvanize the entire nation. Whether you're rich, poor, middle class, you know, whether you're black, white, purple, pink, sports can bring everybody together on one common ground, and that's indeed what we want to see, you know. And before I go, I must also just want to big up the Reggae Girls and their historic second consecutive qualification to the FIFA Women's World Cup, and kudos to the technical staff. A number of them who also are part of the technical staff for the Reggae Boyz, the national senior men's team. So big up and bless upon yourself, and you know, just continue to put in the hard work.
One more thing before you go, Mr. Barrett. I don't know who else can give me a link with, you know. I'd like to get a few more of your legendary guys, you know.
Okay, I probably can reach out to Tati and ask him if it's okay, and then I can pass on his contact to you. You know, so at least he can share his
part. And I appreciate you to come on and take the time out, you know. And
it was a pleasure. Really was a pleasure.
And I really gonna keep your contact, my boss. You know,
we're gonna keep in touch for sure. We keep in touch for sure.
And I appreciate it, my boss, and much respect. You know.
Blessing and love.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like, share, and comment. You know.
Yeah, man. Blessing to the fans out there who tuned in as well. You know, God bless. Have a peaceful Sunday.
All right, you too, my boss. Thank you very much.
All right, blessing and love.
Yes, guys, that was the great Warren Barrett, you know, former Jamaica captain, the Reggae Boyz captain, you know, and leader, legend. And I just hope you guys did like this interview. You know, hope you guys like, share, and comment. You know, make your comment, go back over, read it, and, you know, thank you guys for watching.